right, it's great to see everyone tonight. So that particular warm-up was focused on the engagement phase, which is often an under-taught aspect of guard passing. Guard passing is the most difficult skill set in jiu-jitsu, like bar none. Passing a good guard is the most difficult thing you could possibly do. So we want to be very specific when we're learning how to pass the guard, and we want to focus primarily on learning passes that follow a very strict concept, which we'll look at in a moment. And specifically, we want to know our principles of not just barreling forward, not just using your body weight to drive into people. That often leads to injury, mainly for you and your training partner, right? Because if I just kind of barrel forward and throw my body weight on top of you, it's really not going to pass a good guard, right? We've been talking a lot about false positives over the last few weeks, and a false positive is just where I do something that works, but it only works because my opponent is not good at jiu-jitsu, right? That's a false positive. Just because it works doesn't mean it's good. I want to be able to use techniques that are technical, that are based in, efficient anatomical technique, and are also following a great concept, right? So let's talk about our main concept for guard passing. Our main concept for guard passing is that we always want to look to turn our opponent's legs into levers to allow us to point their guard in a different direction so that we can move around it and then create a box around their hips to prevent them from re-guarding. So we've looked at a lot of guard passes, leg drag, X-pass, Toreando, knee cuts. We're going to be looking at a new pass tonight. It's going to be the leg weave. Now, this is going to be a guard pass that we'll do, again, from the headquarters position. And this is going to be like a third option that we can use. So let me explain. So let's look at where we left off. So let's say I won the engagement phase. I got here to the headquarters position. It's called headquarters in case you're unfamiliar, because this is kind of like a staging ground where I can do a lot of guard passes. So we've looked at two from this position already. We've looked at the knee cut from here. And most recently, we've looked at the X-pass from here. Those two guard passes take us in two directions. Left, or towards the top leg, and kind of over with that X-pass. Well, there's another direction that I can move. I could also move to my right, which is what we're going to look at today with the leg weave. Now, I'll demonstrate the leg weave, and I want to make sure that we're clear on the differences between this and a leg drag, because they are two very different techniques. Okay, guys, but I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate the leg weave. I'll show it in slow motion, and then we'll talk about how it works. Here we go. So I've pointed his legs in a different direction. I've walked around his legs, and I'm creating a box around his hips to hold him down and establish a dominant position. So a guard pass in jiu-jitsu, like I said, it's a big deal. If you pass someone's guard, that's like a winning move in chess. That's like one step away from checkmate, okay? Because competitively, you're gonna get 3 points for that, but also just efficiency-wise, I'm getting my body weight on top of my opponent's chest, and that's gonna be way better in the long run because I can wear them out faster. So let's look at the leg weave. We're gonna start in the headquarters position. Again, I'm keeping my knee nice and tight against this top leg. And we can start with either of these hand positions. It doesn't necessarily matter because we're gonna be jumping down to the belt grip tonight. We're gonna talk about the belt grip, how really versatile grip. My right hand is going to be controlling the same side collar. My left hand is going to reach straight down, and I'm going to grab right here on the side of his belt. So I think of it like I'm trying to hold on to the reins of a horse and kind of keep control and steer it a little bit. Now, leg weave is where I am in between my opponent's legs. And we can do arms or our legs. Incidentally, last night, we actually did the leg weave with the arm, and tonight we're going to be doing the leg weave using the legs. Once I have this position, I'm going to start to lift my hips just slightly to start to move towards my right side. So as my hips come up, I keep my chest against his knee. I'm going to start to walk towards his legs, and notice how I'm accessing them as a lever, which in turn rotates his hips away. So I lift my hips just slightly, I start to walk and turn his knees. As soon as I have a dominant angle on this leg, and a dominant angle is just anything past the 90-degree angle, because now gravity is assisting me to hold him down. Once I have a dominant angle on this top leg, I'm going to start to slide my knee in between the two of his legs. As soon as I have that knee in between, my head can go to two different positions. Either our Pez dispenser, where I'm using my crown of my head to break his posture by pushing his chin away. That's the mean version. And if you want to be nice, you can just get your head to the mat here instead. Now notice how my foot is still trapped behind his leg, and I'll show this in a different angle in a moment. What I need to do is I need to take that foot out to create a kickstand. So again, I'm sitting my head up so that I can talk to you guys. Normally in this pass, I'm going to be stable the entire time. But again, so again, I'm going to take this right foot, and I'm going to step it out to the side. Now we are in the leg weave position. So my knee is woven in between his legs. My hips are keeping his knees folded and turned to the side. My right foot is matching the force vector that he would use to drive to knock me over. And my hands are controlling and holding him against me, so that way he can't start to hip escape and reestablish guard. Finally, my head is going to be nice and low, so I have a lower center of gravity, and I'm taking away a potential lever that he can use to push me away. Right, your face. We're going to work to just get to leg weave first, then we'll talk about how to finish this guard pass. We're going to do a couple different passes, a couple different finishes, I should say, throughout the week. All right, guys, so again, we're in headquarters first. I'm going to get my grip set up. So I have my collar grip, I reach down, belt grip. My hips start to come up. I'm going to start to walk to my right side. As I walk to my right side, once I get that dominant angle, my knee comes through, I post, and I get my head down on the floor. As soon as my head is in this position, you got to make sure you fix your mic so everyone can hear you. And then once I'm in this position, I'm going to be done for my first rep, okay? And I just want you to have your partner give you a little bit of feedback, right? Just kind of check each other, make sure that you feel tough, right? So once I'm in this position, have them move you a little bit, okay? Notice how I'm using regulated tension on my arms and my grips to keep them held against me. So regulated tension, for those who are not familiar, is where it's like the Goldilocks zone. I'm not just like spamming and holding as hard as I can. That burns your grips out and gives them advantages to start to attack. But I'm also just not cosmetically placing my hands here and just not doing anything with them, right? Goldilocks, just right. Modify it if you need. Let's do this from another angle. Okay, so let's say we're from this position now. So for those of you who are curious, the difference between a leg weave and a leg drag is just in the leg positioning, okay? A leg drag is where I have the leg closest to them in between their knees. A leg weave is where I take the outside leg and I place it in between. So that's the main difference between a leg weave and a leg drag. So again, we'll go to headquarters first. I get my belt grip. Notice I'm just sticking my forefingers underneath it and then grabbing it with a thumb here. If they don't have a belt, great question, thank you for asking. I can reach down, I can grab onto the pants, right wherever the drawstring is, or I can just hook the hip with my fingers. So once I'm here in this position, my hips come up, I get that lever control on the knee, step out, nice and low, okay? And notice how I'm being nice, but again, if I'm doing the Pez dispenser, my head would go right under his chin, I would drive his head up. If I want to be nice, I'm just going to aim to get my head close to the floor. And just go as far as you feel comfortable. Don't overdo it, right? Watch your center of gravity. If I start making a big movement, that's exactly what we talked about. I don't want to barrel forward into people's guards and try to pass guards based solely on my size and strength. All right, let's do it from the rear. All right, guys, so I set up headquarters. 1, get my grip situation, hips up, get into my leg weave. This is also sometimes called a smash pass, which is very appropriate. I'm smashing his legs to the side, so you can choose whichever nomenclature you like there. All right, guys, so we're just going to work, again, setting up, getting to the leg weave position. We'll finish the pass next. Any questions?
No, sir.
Yes?
Are you grabbing the belt just to have something to hold on to, or are you actually using it to help?
I'm using it so that I can stop them from hip escaping, but also so that I have connection to their body, so it's a two-way street. So I don't want them to scoot their hips away, so I'm kind of holding them towards me, but I'm also staying connected so they don't push me away from them.
If you're fighting someone bigger and stronger, is it better to grab a bit of the gi with the belt?
That's totally fine, and it doesn't necessarily have to be if they're bigger and stronger. If the belt's loose, I'm just going to grab the material behind the belt, so that way I anchor onto the actual gi. All right, you guys? So let's drill this. We'll do it 2 times each, and then switch it up. Ready, 1, 2. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and continue working the leg weave. Now, we're gonna actually finish the leg weave. Like I said, there's a lot of finishes for this particular guard pass, and we'll hopefully get a chance to do some of them throughout the week. But we're gonna look at what I consider probably the easiest, because it really doesn't require you to move all that much. So let's take a look. So I'll start where we left off. So I got to the headquarters, I'm reaching down. So when I'm getting this belt grip, guys, it's like I'm trying to pour out a glass of water and keep my thumb pointing up towards his head. And I'm grabbing with my 4 fingers here, okay? So I'm right in this position. It's not wrong for me to grab like this, but this actually doesn't provide me with as much pull as here. Now it's much easier to pull my elbow to my ribs. Here it's a little more awkward because my elbow's pointing up. Okay, so let's actually move this way a smidge. All right, so I'm here, I start to walk, keeping my head low. And notice how when I get into my leg weave, I'm leaning into him, like I'm resting on him, like I'm tired after a long day. Okay, so I wanna be leaning into him here. Again, my head will be on the mat, but I'll be looking at you guys to talk. So what I need to do, again, let's think about our primary passing concept. I'm aiming to turn their legs away, and now I'm gonna aim to get behind their legs and box their hips in. So to get behind their legs, I need to get this top foot a little more forward, unless I'm a little flexible. I don't normally like to teach things that are only for people with those type of attributes, speed, flexibility, et cetera, right? So I wanna make sure that I'm trying to use my body to get this leg in the position I need to be in. So I'm just gonna continue to kind of move my hips forward until that foot is more forward. Now I'm gonna take my kickstand leg and I'm gonna hook it right behind his ankle. So what I'm doing is I'm essentially placing a wall behind this leg, so this leg will not be able to follow me as I walk behind him. Additionally, this moves my entire body behind his legs. So once I have this position with my foot over here, I'm gonna stay tight. I'm gonna keep my knees pinched. My hips go up like I'm making a tripod, and I'm just gonna walk right around his legs. And notice I'm still nice and close. I'm still keeping my weight on top of him. I'm finishing in a leg drag position. So for those of you who remember a leg drag, I'm just going straight to leg drag. At the end, I'm creating a box around his hips with my elbow and the V shape of my legs. So that's the 2 sides of the box, all right? I can still hold this belt grip as long as I'd like to, and then once I'm here, I've passed the guard. Of course, we can start working up towards our positions, but for right now, let's focus on the pass. Okay, so again, we're here, that knee comes down. Remember, that knee goes to the mat. Try to keep the foot hooked. It's not the end of the world if the foot pops out, but we want every advantage we can get, so maintain lever control with that foot. So from this position, if I'm flexible, just step back and get it. You can even use your top elbow to hold their leg down. So if you got a really flexible guy keeping their knee up, use that elbow. Keep their knee pinned, hook, and really get that extension. Your partner is gonna feel this stretch here, and they're gonna be able to sort of tell you whether or not their leg is sufficiently stopped, okay? Again, if you can't just step back, just keep moving your hips forward. See how his foot comes up? And then just step back and then settle. Now, once I'm in this position, before I start to walk, I'm gonna pinch my knees like I have to use the bathroom. This is gonna keep his leg low to the ground, so it's even harder for it to follow me. So again, I'm here, pinch. Now look, my hips are gonna come up and I'm just gonna tippy toe, keeping my shoulder spearing into his chest. At the end, I'm boxing his hips in, head is still low, and I'm never allowing him to push me away. All right? So the finishing for this initial pass is very simple. We're just walking around their legs, but we wanna stop their legs from being able to follow us. So we'll rotate and do it from the rear. So again, we're here. So I go to my leg weave position. All right, from this spot, guys, I gotta get my foot above and hooked behind his top foot. So to do that, I can use a simple step back. If I need to get it forward more, I'm just gonna keep moving my hips until I can catch it. Once I'm here, pinch the knees, keep your butts up high, your heads down low, walk behind his legs, and then look how tight I am. I wanna be like a boa constrictor, but on his hips. So my entire body is consolidated right around his hips so he can't move and escape. All right, so I'll show once more without talking. You can even maintain the leg weave here at the end by keeping your leg in between his. Totally cool. And again, finishing in a nice tight leg drag position. All right, guys, does anyone need to see this finish one more time? Yep, I'll show once more. We'll do it from this side. Okay, so again, headquarters. I go to leg weave. Keep the top leg low. Hook it with the foot, pinch the knees like you gotta use the bathroom. Hips up, heads down. Walk behind his legs, and then I'm done. Notice how I didn't really move too far. I'm just tippy-toeing, walking behind his legs, finishing right here. So in a competition, once I get to this spot, if I maintain control for 3 seconds, 1, 2, 3, there's my 3 points, and I've passed his guard. Let's try this out. 1, 2.